Hello, everyone. It's good to be with you. And my name's Jay Halley, one of the pastors here. And I'm really grateful that Julie asked me to be with you. And she gave me some questions to answer, and I'm going to work my way through those. And so hopefully they're your questions too. I'm looking at myself in my phone as I'm tape recording this, and I look like a Dr. Spock or someone. I had a cell removed from my ear, so it's taped, but I look like a Klingon or something. Hey, so she asked me to talk a little bit about the idea of missions, and I'm going to work through some of those questions, and then maybe sometime in the hallway you can stop me and ask me what I meant by something, or hopefully I can come in and visit with you personally. I'm not able to, given the date that Julie had. I apologize for that. But she asked, what is your personal story in answering God's call to missions? That whole idea of God's call kind of confuses me at times. I didn't really get something like this or anything in the sky, but it just seemed that it was the right thing to do. I had already gone through school at Ohio State, grad school, was working for Ohio State, and just sensed that what I wanted to do was go to seminary and get trained. And it was just before seminary that I thought, man, I really want to be involved with outreach. In fact, my wife and I went to a big conference called Urbana 70. Well, I went to Urbana 79, then we went together later on, and it's all about missions. And we stood up and said, we want to give our lives to this thing. Even if we don't go overseas and live there, we can at least be a part of motivating the church to be involved in missions. And so that was a huge part of it. And then in 1983, this is before we got married, I took a leave of absence from my job and went over to northern Kenya and lived there. This is before cell phones and texting and all that. And I had heard of a couple of missionaries there. I went and lived with them, and it was a fantastic experience and sort of changed the trajectory of my life. Related to that, Julie asks, what is one of your most memorable mission experiences? Well, aside from helping Julie find her passport before they closed the plane door on our way to Burundi, it probably was when I was in Kenya in 1983. I was there for 2 months, and man, I got so sick. I think I had malaria. Got a Dear John letter from this girl that I was dating back in the States. Bad timing on her part. But as difficult as those 2 months were, and it was difficult living situations, those ended up being incredibly helpful as I thought through my future. Isn't it interesting how the difficult things in our lives can be so formative moving forward? And so those were great, but I've had other interesting experiences. In Ethiopia, I got bed bugs like you can't believe. And in Burundi, yeah, my clothes didn't come for about a week, I think it was. Anyways, in Mozambique, I sat in a circle of witch doctors and was amazed by that. Anyway, next question. What exactly is missions? The word mission comes from the Latin word missio, which comes from the Greek word apostello. It sounds like apostle, and that means to be sent. So missions means to be sent. The word mission itself, I mean, we're always on mission as Christians. In the kids' hallway on Sundays, they're on mission. Our youth ministry, they're on mission. We're always on mission. But the word missions has been used sort of like we use the word outreach or thinking outside out of our walls. And when I talk about missions, I think in terms of that which is personal, local, and global. Personal mission is you, where you work and you live and you play. It's your family, it's your neighbors, it's your coworkers. It's you representing Christ with your life and with your words. So that's personal mission. There's local mission, and that's the chapel is partnered with different ministry partners in the community. I think that's even one of the questions, what mission groups? Like in Sandusky, we have the Nehemiah Center. We have a homeless shelter that we're connected with. with Heartbeat Pregnancy Services over in Port Clinton, Heartbeat Pregnancy Services, Bistro 163. In Norwalk, we have the Love Norwalk thing. We also have the Abigail Pregnancy Services also, and a variety of other local ministries. We do curbside carryout, about that, warming the homeless, and some other things. We really try to bless our community, partner with those who are already doing good work. What I like to say is we want to partner with people who are already doing what we can't do or what we cannot do as well. And then global, only 1/3 of the world is Christian. Another third of the world, they've heard of Christ but reject Christ. Another third of the world, they've never heard about Jesus. Those are the unreached people groups. And we really want to try to focus in on those areas where people have never heard the gospel. In Burundi, we're with the Batwa, the Pygmies there. They're a very despised group and very rejected and an unreached people group in many ways. In India, we're in a couple different places with unreached people groups. In Mexico, there are portions of Mexico that are still unreached, and we're supporting people who are doing Bible translation down there, not into Spanish, but into the indigenous Indian languages there. So we try to be around the world. One of the things we're looking at, and this may interest you, is in Europe. Send International is a mission agency that sends missionaries to unreached people groups in the world. Well, Europe has quite a few unreached people groups. An unreached people group is where less than 2% of the population is connected to the church. And there are pockets like that in Europe. And so right now, the chapel, we are looking at a place where maybe we can come alongside a ministry and help them develop the church there. So more on that later on. Another question is, what are some ways that individually we can support missions? You can go. We're looking for people to go and live as missionaries with some of our good missionary partners. You can certainly do a short-term mission team. Julie's done a number of those, and she can tell you how transformative that is and how helpful it is to the people who we serve over there. We need people to pray all the time. We do have prayer helps, prayer cards we can give you so you can know how to pray. I think we need to come up with a better booklet, though, that shows exactly how to pray. And then financially, too, the chapel mission budget is not where it needs to be. We are below where we need to be. The chapel elders want to be at giving 10% of our budget, but we're not there yet. The chapel Christmas giving catalog's coming out this coming weekend. You'll receive that, and you can participate with that also. So praying, giving, going are ways to be involved. Another question is what corporately in our Bible study groups can we do to support missions? Kind of the same thing. Wouldn't it be great to maybe as a group say we're going to pray for this part of the world, or we're going to pour our prayer efforts into the village that we've adopted in India. We can tell you a lot more about that and give you a great report. I'll give that to Julie to give to you guys so you guys can be motivated by something cool that's happening there, or maybe it's Burundi or the medical mission we're connected with in Haiti. But to pray. Also, I would love for a group to say we're gonna send cards to missionaries around the world. Maybe it's their birthday or it's their anniversary, or it's a Christmas card or something like that. Or maybe to come together with the other women's groups. This is something we're talking about. Julie knows this, that where maybe we could identify an oppressed women's group in the world somewhere. Maybe it's in Burundi, maybe it's in India, somewhere else, an oppressed women's group. And they're everywhere around the world. And there's a book called Half the Sky. If you want to read about oppressed women's groups in the world, Half the Sky is what it's called. And maybe all of our women's ministries together can find a way to bless that group. What are some of the greatest needs? I think many of them overseas would say, please just pray for us. What are some small ways to help financially, resources, time, etc.? I think I mentioned some of the bigger ways to help. Financially, whatever you can do to assist, you can give to individual missions at the chapel, and we'll make sure it gets to those groups. Every now and then when we send teams over, you can send items over, clothing items and so on. For example, Burundi, they're high up in the mountains to help them be warm. The one village in India, too, it's high in elevation also. During the summer times, it's hot. The wintertime, it's cold there. When we send medical teams to Haiti, I think we'll be doing more of that, contributing medical items or money toward medical items and so on. Certainly, again, Julie mentions time. I've given a message here in Norwalk this week, in Sandusky, and then the next week in Port Clinton about stepping out of the boat, which means stepping out of what's comfortable into what's uncomfortable, into what's unknown, into what's unfamiliar, and watch God show up. Some people say, well, I can't do a short-term mission because I don't have, where's the money going to come from? I've never seen anybody not go overseas because of money. Maybe some other things, but not because of money. I've always seen people come back saying, I can't believe I was thinking about not going. So just something to think about. Ask Julie about that. And then the last question is, what is your vision for missions at the chapel? What do you see as next steps, bigger dreams? I would like to see us do more in Sandusky. It's a big area. Maybe that's connecting with the local schools. That's an idea. I would like to see us do more with the addiction problem in all of our communities. The other day I met with the county health commissioner, just asking what more can we do. And yeah, that would be great. Eastern Europe, I mentioned that. There are, believe it or not, there are even pockets in Ireland where the gospel used to be because of St. Patrick. But now the gospel is nowhere, and people are not church. So maybe there's a place in Ireland or in northern Spain with the Basques, or maybe it's in Croatia or southern Romania. And there are people there who do not know the gospel. And so those are some ideas. I certainly want to find ways to bless our communities. And I certainly want to inspire all of our chapel attendees to think through, how can I bless my neighbors? How can I be in their lives and introduce them to the good news of Christ? You know, let me end with this by saying that the theme that unfolds from the beginning of the Bible to the end is this: we are blessed to be a blessing. It's throughout. It started with Abraham and it ends at the end of the Bible. We are blessed to be a blessing. As blessed as you are, we cannot sit on that. We receive God's grace to give God's grace. And so missions, when I think of missions, thinking outside our walls, being externally focused, being outreach oriented, it's being personally on mission, locally on mission, globally on mission. And you know, in the history of the church, it's always been women who have been at the front edge of that cause. So thank you for your interest, and would love to talk to you more sometime. Signing out. Thank you.